Hello there everyone, and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we are going to be looking at the Anywhere Act by Marc, Paul and the 1914. A very interesting download that I do have some pros and some cons for it that I do want to point out, but it's a very good product nonetheless, as you would expect with anything with Marc Paul's name on it and the 1914s. So let's roll the intro and dive into the opinion that I have of the Anywhere Act. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about the Anywhere Act by Marc Paul. So what is the Anywhere Act? It's an act that fits into a small pencil case or into a small kind of carrying case that you can have with you as an emergency act or as a backup act or as your main act in certain scenarios. It's essentially what it is. Now, of course, this is not the act, but this is where I have all my notes about all of the routines and everything that you're going to learn in order to give you the most information possible. So as always with big projects like this or big books, instead of performing one effect and then just mentioning the other ones, I'm going to tell you the entire table of contents and everything that you get inside of this 3.5 hour download. We're going to unpack everything and I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know. So what do you get in the Anywhere Act? Essentially, you are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 routines. You're getting 10 routines here that you're going to be able to do. The first one is a memory demonstration. So you're going to have some alphabet cards that you're going to give to a spectator. They're going to mix, and then you're going to just, you're going to be able to show that you know some of the words and that you know some of the letters they have in their hand. And then you ask them to arrange the letters in a certain order and you're able to reveal the word that they're looking at as well. That's the first routine. Then you have a routine called 3045, which is a routine with number cards in which you're able to reveal a thought of number that they are going to end up on. I really like that routine. That is one that I'm going to perform. Then you have a chair test, which is a very quirky and fun kind of game type chair test that uses some really funny props and is very simple. It's one of the most simple chair tests that I've ever seen. And you can do this without a chair as well. You can just do this with envelopes on the ground. It's very cool. The principle behind it is very fooling and it's the simplest thing you've ever going to see. And that is something that I'm going to want to try and perform as well. Then you have a 6-person mind reading. As you can guess, it's reading 6 people's minds. Then you have a time and place routine, which is something that Marc Paul is kind of known for. He talks about this in numerous places, his ALAKAZAM Academy and other places as well. And this one is no different. It is very, very good. So that is something that I'm performing as well. Then you have a routine called emotions, which focuses, as you guessed, on emotions. Then you have a phone mystery routine where you're able to kind of get someone's phone number. You're able to deduct their phone number in a very clean manner. Then you have a 4-dimension telepathy routine that works based on a principle that he explains in another routine that is based on a 1 ahead. That's a very interesting premise and a very interesting way as well of doing this 4DT type of routine. Then you have a bank night routine, which is a very simple one in that. And then at the end, he goes over an index Q&A that is very different to the other Q&As that you may expect. It's a Q&A with a twist that makes it incredibly easy and incredibly deceiving. And I don't want to really tip that away because it is a very smart way of doing Q&A and a foolproof way of doing Q&A. So that is something that is included as well. So you get all of that, plus you get some extra methods, you get some extra principles, some alternative views, and you also get an introduction, a conclusion. He also talks about how to structure an act, how to frame an act, and gives you a bit more theoretical and philosophical information as well as to everything that he has presented to you. And that is what you get in your package in your download of the Anywhere Act. Knowing that, where do you buy this? How much does it cost? And what do you get? You can buy this directly from the 1914. It is a video download. It will set you back £40, which is around 45 US and around 70 Canadian dollars. And what you get is a close to 4-hour download. Of course, it's similar to all the other 1914 products. You get small videos small sections that you click. If you add all those sections together, it's going to equal almost 4 hours. So you're going to get all of those. You're going to get live presentations of every effect, the explanation, some additional ideas, etc. for every single one of the effects that I have mentioned to you. That is essentially what you get. Now, before moving on to the rest of the review, I do want to mention kind of the only thing that really kind of, for me, is the only negative, the only big negative of this project. I understand why he did it. I understand why the 1914 did it, but it is something that I could have wished maybe exists as an added bonus. Maybe it's going to come eventually if there's enough demand for it. But all of the routines, close to all of the routines explained here, use specific props that are made specifically for Parlor-ish. So they use specific printed index cards, specific printed alphabet cards, specific printed number cards, specific printed people cards, etc. Now, you can do those by hand, of course, but they're just not going to look professional. Especially if I do them, they're going to look like a kindergarten to them. People are going to be like, who is this guy? Is he making this like in 1 minute before coming to our show? What is this? They don't look professional. They don't look nice. And if you want to do all of those props like Marc Paul has them, it's going to take you time and money. You're going to have to spend some extra money. He does give you the resources of where to purchase the cards, how to design them, how to make them your own. You're going to have to do that. You're going to have to design all your cards. You're going to have to print out all the cards. You're going to have to buy all those extra props. You're going to have to contact the card manufacturer that he tells you, make sure you get all the dimensions correctly. You're going to have to put in the work to get everything made for you if you want to do this act from start to finish, or even if you want to do just some of the routines, you're still going to have to make those cards ready and you're going to have to print them out and have them made for you, which is going to cost some extra money. Now, I do wish, I know he says that he doesn't want people to copy and he doesn't want people to do exactly as he does, and he is 100% right, but I would have liked maybe an added package, which is kind of giving you the things already made, or maybe a deluxe edition, even if it was $40, $50 more expensive, and you get all of the props with you so you can start performing these routines right away. I think that would have been an incredible added bonus, an incredible thing that would have just pushed this beyond, because I'll be honest, a lot of these routines I really like, but having to design everything, having to go through all of the hassle. You know, for example, the chair test. I really like his chair test, but you do need to print out specifically designed cards. Now, I do another chair test that I already have built. Am I going to want to put all of the work to do the chair test that he wants, spend all the extra money when I already have one already done? Probably not. However, if I would have had the props, I would have tried it out. I would have tried it out, see, is this better than mine? Is it not better than mine? And I think I would have experimented with more of the routines in this project if I would have had that. Because as you saw, most of the routines that I'm going to use, there's not that many from the whole thing. And it's the routines with the most simplest props, or the ones that do not use any props, that just use billets or index cards. So that is a bit unfortunate. I do wish it would have had an extra kind of buying capability, a deluxe edition, or the gimmick pack, which is not really, or the gimmick pack extra that you could buy to just have everything printed to you. I think that would have been incredibly, incredibly cool. But moving on from that, let's talk difficulty. How difficult are these routines? These routines are incredibly easy. I was so surprised. These routines are so incredibly easy. When he said that this is an emergency act, he is right, because these routines are almost all self-working and just based off the simplest mentalism principles that you can get, and they are foolproof and they will always work. It's great. In terms of difficulty, you can adapt these instantly. You can adapt these routines to other things, or the premises to other effects that you do. As I said, the effect with the chair test is so simple because of the premise. You can apply that premise to something else, right? If you have other props that use 3 people that move around in a prediction, you can do that with this principle and make it even easier. So everything here is very easy. A lot of the moves are very easy. A lot of the techniques are very easy. And as I say with all mentalism products, it is the presentation that matters the most and what you say. So that is what you're going to have to work on rather than the sleight of hand or the moves. Moving on now to practicality. Is this practical? And the answer is yes, because it was designed to be practical. You can carry all of this in a like pencil-ish case, like those zip pencil cases. He puts everything there inside, and you can carry around this act in it, and you'll be ready to go for almost an hour act at a moment's notice with everything here. If you decide to print everything as well, you can literally have this in your car or somewhere in your carry bag if ever you travel and something gets lost or you forget something and you have this with you, you are good to go at any point. So yes, it is very practical, and the routines are very practical as well. They're visual, they kind of are based around his thinking behind mentalism and magic, is that you don't want every routine for people to be on the stage. You don't want every single routine to be on the same premise. You don't want every single routine to be a reveal. And you can see this in this act. You have routines where there's 3 people on stage moving around. You have routines where people are standing down and you're just reading their minds. You have routine with 1 person on stage. You have routine with 2 people on stage. You have reveals. You have predictions. It really shines Marc's personality and persona and thinking behind magic, and you can really learn how to build a show here with this product. You can really, beyond the tricks and the principles, you can learn how to build and structure a show and make it interesting, even with the most simplistic tricks you could ever think of, which is absolutely great. So yes, this is very practical. Where would you perform these effects and these shows? Well, most of these effects are designed for where Marc performs, which is kind of trade shows, parlor shows, cabaret, and stage shows. These are routines that some of them will not be able to be done close up at all. Some of them are meant for stage parlor, like the chair test. You're not gonna have people be like, okay, can you stand up from your table at the wedding and come here and do this? You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do a Q&A at a table of 3 people. You're not gonna do a 6-person mind reading at a cocktail with 2 people, right? So some of these routines are purely designed for parlor, stage, cabaret, whereas others could be, like the time and place routine, could be modified for a close-up. The 30-45 routine could be modified for close-up. The memory demonstration with the alphabet cards could be done for close-up. Some of them can be modulated for close-up environments, but some of them cannot. However, all of them work for parlor, stage, cabaret, right? So that is also important to know if you want to purchase this download. Having said all of this, what are the positives and negatives of this download and this project? There's only one negative that I can think of, and that is that I wish there would have been an option to buy the props with the download instead of having to make them up all manually, having to deal, having to ship, having to go on Photoshop, having to design, having to play around, especially if you're someone that sucks at anything artistic like myself. I know that my cards, even if I get them printed, I won't be happy with them. I'm gonna think they look like ass and I will not be happy with them. So I do wish there would have been an option to have these all printed, or an option maybe, I'm sure that if you message Marc Paul, or even if I were to message him and ask him, I bought this download, do you have your link or your designs? If you're willing to share with me, please, can you send me them? And then you just send the designs already made or the order already made from Marc to the company to have them done for you. I'm sure he would be willing to do that, or he would be more than nice to oblige, but I'm not sure. So for the moment, I'm just leaving that there. But apart from that, everything here is good. You're getting a ton of effects, a ton of methods, a ton of philosophy, a ton of theory behind mentalism. You're getting live performances. The explanations are great. They're well presented. The effects are well thought out. They're easy. They're practical. They can be done in parlor, stage, and cabaret. Some of them can even be done close up. It is a very nice download, even if you're not going to do all of it, even if you're not going to build everything that is in here, you are still going to enjoy your 4 hours and everything that you learn from Marc. I own almost all of his downloads. They're all incredibly fun, all incredibly interesting, just because of his thinking and how he simplifies the most complicated routines into the most simple, well thought out premises. There's a lot of good here. Finally, would I recommend the Anywhere act, and what do I give it out of 10? Would I recommend it if you are someone that is thinking that they're just gonna get this and do everything without any work, that they're gonna do everything in this project without any work, just go and perform? You're gonna be wrong, because you're gonna have to build your props, you're gonna have to make your props, except for a few routines that use just billets. Most of them, you're going to have to build the props, you're going to have to design them, you're going to have them printed out and shipped to you. So it will require work. However, if you're someone that is performing a lot, that is a professional, that is familiar with printing their cards, or someone that just wants to learn what Marc Paul is doing as an emergency act and maybe build a similar act with other products that you own and other effects that you already have and perform, and learn how to structure an emergency act for yourself that is going to pack extremely small, I think this is definitely worth the money. So yes, I do recommend it. What do I give it out of 10? I'm giving Marc Paul's Anywhere Act an 8 on 10. It's a very good download. It's one that gets to the point and that's interesting to watch all the way through. It is very good. As always, make sure if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If not, like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in my next one. Have a great one.